Check, check, check. Test, 1, 2.
Two, test, check, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2, test, check, 1, 2. Okay. I'm gonna have to close the doors. So we are going to begin. And before we begin, I want to make sure we all know, I have this new headpiece, and it doesn't like my mask. So let's see if I can, whew. Feels like a hanging Chad. There, that's better. Okay. Before we begin, when you came into the sanctuary, you were given a piece of paper that is the appropriate greeting for Sukkot. So when I say Chag Sameach or Mo'adim L'Simcha, you respond with Chagim Uzmanim L'Sason. So I greet you by saying Chag Sameach. That's right. So if during the next 7 days you meet somebody and they're Jewish and they say to you Chag Sameach or Mo'adim L'Simcha, you know you can respond with Mo'adim L'Simcha or Chagim Uzmanim L'Sason. So that is the appropriate Sukkot greeting. Tonight, we are going to have our service, and then we're going to teach everyone to shake the lulav and etrog and invite you to take part in the mitzvah of the shaking of the lulav and etrog in the sukkah, because that's the mitzvah, the commandment to shake the lulav and etrog while dwelling in the sukkah. Then, after we shake the lulav and etrog, I'm going to ask everybody who brought some diapers to come to our pack and play. And we're going to put diapers into the pack and play. I will bless everyone, and then Rabbi Weiner will tell a story. And as soon as we're finished, we'll end the service and go out into the sukkah, have some cookies, and we will be joyous together. And so we begin our service this evening with a nigun, which you can find on your song sheet, called Ufros Aleinu.
Yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la la, yalla. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la 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 la. Ufros aleinu Sukkot. Sukkot Shlomecha Ufros aleinu Sukkot Sukkot Shlomecha Yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la 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 la.
First with me turning on the microphone, and then with our candle blessing, and it is my pleasure to invite up Marcy Siegel to say the blessings over our candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Yom Tov. Amen.
We continue now with the Baruch Hu, which can be found on the right side of the first page. Please rise.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai, HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai, HaMevorach, HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed.
And we remain standing as we join together in the words of the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shekevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shekevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated as we continue together on the second page chanting the Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzadecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'lechtecha b'derech u'shokbecha u'fumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
At the top of the next page, we read responsively, "All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone are our God. There is none else, and we are your people Israel. You give us our life. By your help we survive all who seek our destruction. You did wonders for us in the land of Egypt, miracles and marvels in the land of Pharaoh. You led your people Israel out forever to serve you in freedom. When your children witnessed your power, they extolled you and gave you thanks. Willingly they enthroned you, and full of joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang this song." We continue now with our Amidah, which can be found on our second page on the back. And I will ask you to please rise either in body or spirit as we continue now with these words.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu. Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh ha'kol, V'zocher chasei avot v'imahot, U'mevi geula lifnei v'nehem, L'man shemo be'ahava. Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayim metim atah v'hoshia, Morid hatal. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayim metim berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofeh cholim, U'matir asurim, U'mekayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamoch haba'al gevurot, U'mido melech, Melech le'nit u'mechayem.
atah l'chayot metim.
Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hametim. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'kol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated. We continue now with a few moments of silent meditation or reflection using either the words in front of us or the words of our hearts.
We continue with our prayer for peace, which is at the bottom of your song sheet. Hapurei Sukkot Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai, Hapurei Sukkot Shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Hapurei Sukkot Shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim, ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim, shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim, ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim, shalom. Baruch atah Adonai, Hapurei Sukkot Shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
Into the sanctuary, we have brought the symbols of Sukkot, the lulav that represents the human spine. May we stand straight with courage and integrity. The myrtle, whose leaves are shaped like eyes. May we behold the grandeur of the universe. The willow, whose leaves resemble human lips. May we offer enduring words. And the etrog, that's shaped like the human heart. May love guide us from selfishness to service. Together, God of Israel, let our senses be filled with love for you and your will. Let our harvest be shared with all. And before we share our harvest, we are going to make our blessings over the lulav and etrog, and then Miss Marla and Rabbi Weiner and I are going to demonstrate how to shake them. Just as the etrog has taste and fragrance, there are Jews who are learned of Torah and do good deeds. The lulav has palatable taste, but no fragrance. And just as there are those who are learned but they don't do good deeds. The myrtle has a pleasant odor, but no taste, just as there are Jews who do good deeds, but they don't study Torah. And finally, the willow is neither fragrant nor edible, just as there are those who don't study, and nor do they do good deeds. When we bind the four together, the four species, we acknowledge our differences, and we come together and unite. And when we are together, only then can we make a blessing. And so what we do to make the blessing is we put the lulav in our right hand. We take the pitome, which is the kosher part of the etrog. If the etrog doesn't have a pitome, it's not kosher. We put the pitome down. We hold them together and we say the blessings, which can be found on the top of the next page. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat lulav. Then we take the etrog and we turn it up. So the pitome is up. So I'm going to ask Marla and Rabbi Weiner to come forward and take their lulav and etrog. When we shake the lulav and etrog, you hold them together with the pitome up, lulav in the right hand, etrog in the left hand, and we put them in 6 different directions. We put them in the east, the south, the west, north, up, and down to symbolize that God is everywhere. So we hold them out and we shake to the right, to the left, up, south, down, and then all around. And we're shedding a little, which I've never had a lulav shed on me. This lulav thinks it's a kitten. All right, but now this represents that God is everywhere. And now we express our gratitude to God by saying Hallel together on the bottom of the page. Oh, give thanks to the Eternal who is good, together for your love. Let Israel now say, your love. Let the house of Aaron now say. Let all who revere the Eternal now say. Blessed is the one who comes to seek God. We bless you from the house of God. You are my God, and I will thank you. You are my God, and I will exalt you. Oh, give thanks to the Lord who is good. And how do we show our thanks? Well, we show our thanks by sharing our abundance. Just as the ancient Israelites took a little pilgrimage festival holiday to pay their taxes and show their gratitude to the priests in the temple. They'd have big tailgate parties every night. It was like Vegas on wheels, I'm telling you. But it was back in the days, that's how people paid their taxes and showed their gratitude. Today, we are going to sing Hallel to show our gratitude, and then I'm going to invite everyone who brought some diapers to bring their diapers up, and we will bless all of you. Everyone, whether you brought diapers or not, gets a blessing, and we will rejoice in the holiness of this time that we are commanded to be joyful.
Hodul Adonai ki tov, ki leolam chasto, ki leolam chasto. Yomarna, Yomarna, Israel. Ki
And I ask everyone at this time to please rise, and those of you who care to come forward and offer up your diapers and wipes and formula and anything else you might have brought to the holy pack and play, to please do so at this time. Go ahead, honey. And thank you all. While we're all still standing, Zeh hayom asa Adonai nagila v'nismecha ba. This is the day which God has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. You came to the bima with your hands full. You have brought your beautiful gifts of diapers, formula, wipes, all that we will share with those who are needy. And we accept your gifts and we ask God's blessing for all of you. I bless you now with a threefold benediction from the book of Numbers. Yiverechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yikuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha, Vayasem lecha shalom. Vayasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God be kind and gracious unto you. May God's countenance be lifted up unto you and grant all of you the most precious gift of peace. And let us say together, Amen. Cindy, let's have a Shehecheyanu, please.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh.
So I want to, oh, that's very loud, share with you a story. And this story took place a long, long time ago. You can guess how long a long, long time ago is, but a long, long time ago, there was a town, and in this town, they were having the fanciest of fancy parties. And everybody knew that this party was happening, and everybody was keeping their fingers crossed. I hope I get an invitation. I hope I get an invitation. And everybody in the town got an invitation, except for Shmuel. And he thought, my invitation must have just gotten lost in the mail. You see, Shmuel, he didn't always dress so nice. You might have seen him and you might have thought, maybe he could use a new pair of pants, or maybe he didn't wash his shirt enough. It looked a little bit dirty. And Shmuel thought, well, everybody else in the town got an invitation to this party. Mine must have just gotten lost in the mail. So it came to the night, and you could see everybody in the town was getting ready to go to this party, and they were putting on the fanciest of fancy clothes. You can imagine what they might have been wearing. Think about whatever the fanciest thing that you own is, and it was even fancier than that. And that's what everybody was wearing. And Shmuel watched as everybody was walking up the street because they were all going to this party. And Shmuel found his suit that he had, and it was a pretty scruffy suit. It was very old because Shmuel couldn't really afford a new suit. And it had patches on the elbows, and the pants were a little bit too short, and the shoes were a little bit scuffed up. But he said, I'm going to wear my best to this party. And I know I must have been invited, I'm going to go. And so he follows everyone up, And as they're getting to the gate where the party is, there's somebody there checking off names on the list to let them all in. And they're going one by one. And yes, you're on the list. Yes, you're on the list. And finally it comes to Shmuel. And he says to the person, hello, I'm Shmuel. I'm here for the party. And they said, but you weren't invited to the party. And he said, well, I must have been. The whole town was invited. I must have been invited to this party. I think my invitation just got lost in the mail. And he checked on the list. He looked through the whole list twice just to make sure, and he wasn't invited. And the person said, I'm so sorry, but you weren't invited. You can't come to this party. Now you can imagine how it feels when the whole town is at this party and Shmuel doesn't get invited. So the night goes on and Shmuel goes home and he's really upset and he's thinking about what he should do and he's not really sure. But the next day he goes to his friend the tailor and he says, I really need to borrow your best suit that you have. And the tailor looked at him and he said, you can't afford the best suit that I have. And Shmuel said, don't worry about it. I'll return the suit. I just need the best suit that you have. And the tailor said, okay, because in this town you trust people. So he lent him the best suit that he had, and it was perfectly tailored to him. It was brand new, super shiny black pants, and a fitted coat, and a hat. And even, the tailor said, hold on just a moment. He went into the back closet and he got him a big fancy overcoat to put on top of his suit. And Shmuel said, this is perfect. So Shmuel waited because what he decided to do, he knew that this party had happened. He knew that there must be another party that was going to happen again. And lo and behold, the next month, the town got another invitation to the whole party. And Shmuel didn't get an invitation again. But he took that suit that the tailor gave him and he put it on and he made himself look his fanciest. And he went with all of the guests to the party. And they were walking up, and the person at the gate was checking them off one at a time, and it got to Shmuel, and the person at the gate said, well, I don't even need to ask you your name. You're dressed so fancy. You must be here for the party. And Shmuel thought, well, this is my lucky day. I'm going to walk right in. So he walked right into the party, and lo and behold, everybody are sitting at these big tables. And there is food, more food than you could possibly imagine at these tables. And everybody is sitting there, and they're eating dinner, and Shmuel sits down, and he doesn't do anything. He just sort of looks at the food, and he keeps looking. And then all of a sudden, he takes some salad, and, he uses the salad tongs, and he takes the salad, and he puts it in the pocket of his jacket. And people look at him funny, but they think, this is a fancy guy. He must be from out of town. He must be from far away. Maybe this is a tradition that we just don't know about. So nobody says anything to him. And then Shmuel sees there are little challahs on the table. And so he takes a little challah, and he puts it in the other pocket of his jacket. And he looks down the table, and he sees some mashed potatoes. And he takes the mashed potatoes, and he takes off a shoe, and he puts the mashed potatoes in his shoe. And he sees some green beans at the other end of the table, and he takes the green beans and he puts them in his other shoe. And he takes some chicken and he puts it in his pants pocket. And he saw some matzo ball soup. He scooped up the matzo ball soup and he put it in his hat. And finally, everybody at the table has stopped eating. And it's silent. And finally, someone gets up the courage to say, excuse me, sir, you look like maybe you're from far away and you're dressed so fancy and maybe this is just a custom that we don't know about, but I'm a little bit confused why you're putting food in all of your pockets and not on your plate, and you're not eating any of the food. And Shmuel looked at him and he said, everybody else from the town was invited to this dinner. And I came to this dinner the first party last month, and I wasn't invited, and I was turned away. But then this month I put on the fanciest suit that I could find, and the fanciest jacket, and the fanciest shoes, and the fanciest hat, and I was let in with no questions asked. And so Shmuel said, I was led to believe that you invited my clothes to the party, and not me. So I figured my clothes deserved to eat, and not me. And it was at that moment that the guests realized what they had done to Shmuel, that they had made assumptions about him, and that they had said, maybe he doesn't look like us, or maybe he doesn't quite fit in, and so we're not going to invite him. And they understood why what they had done was wrong. And from then on, they made sure that when they had a party, everyone in the town was invited to come and join them. And that is what Sukkot is all about. It's about welcoming in ushpizin, guests, into our homes. Right now with COVID, that's a little bit hard, but there are all sorts of ways that we can welcome newcomers to our spaces, whether that's the sukkah that we have here, whether that's our Zoom sukkah maybe that we have, whether that's a new space that we're in. But each of us has the ability to make sure that everybody else, regardless of what they look like and regardless of what they wear and regardless of where they come from, feels like they are welcome and invited for exactly who they are. Chag Sameach.
So as a part of our liturgy for Sukkot, the reading of the book of Ecclesiastes is a part of our tradition. And we are lucky enough that it has been put to a beautiful melody, this text. So turn to your song sheet, and together we will sing, Turn, Turn, Turn. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time of love, a time of hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late.
Chag Sameach. I'm Joel Spenadel, and
My name is Jacob Spadell.
we have a few quick announcements. Simcha Torah and Consecration Service are on Monday, September 27th, 1 week from today, at 6:30 p.m. Shabbat services this Friday night will be at 7:30 p.m. with her prayer book passing to Sam Stoller. Please join Jacob and me on October 3rd at 1 p.m. And that's Sunday, October 3rd at 1 p.m. for a community conversation about creating full and fulfilling lives for Jewish adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Thank you to the R&R Committee for providing the sukkah treats. Please take one as you make your way out to the sukkah. And thanks again to everybody who brought the diapers and formula and wipes. Moadim l'simcha. Very good.
Well, at this time, we prepare to begin our concluding prayers, and it is my pleasure to invite everyone who is under the age of bar or bat mitzvah, b'nai mitzvah, to come to the ark at this time to help me open the ark. And I ask everyone to please rise if you are able to do so. We continue with Aleinu, but I need some kids. Come on up, yes, come on. All of you who have not had b'nai mitzvah, who is willing to come up to the bima at this time. I want to show how wonderful our community is, and here is the Jewish future. Never again. Okay, go ahead and open the ark. Thank you.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, latet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kamishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, livnei melech, malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Please be seated.
V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo
At this time in our worship service, our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth and whose yahrzeit we commemorate. We recall this evening with love Jay Daskell, father of Ellen Margulies, Harvey Estrin, father of Nancy Estrin Perlman, Sarah Hasten, mother of Ronald Hasten, Bessie Lazaro, grandmother of Kenneth Siegel. We also mourn the recent passing of Catherine M. Notaris, mother and mother-in-law of Mark Notaris and Leah Dicker Notaris, grandmother of Kara and Jesse Notaris. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as together we recite Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, which can be found at the bottom of the page. Please rise at this time. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Bialma divrach irute v'amlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalal uvizman kari v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach leolam olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Ve'imru. Amen. Ve'imru. Amen. Ve'imru. Amen. Ve'imru. Amen.
Please be seated. Following our closing song, I'm going to ask Marla and Rabbi Weiner to take a lulav and etrog out into the sukkah so that we may go into the sukkah and do kiddush and motzi, and then everyone will line up and have the opportunity to do the mitzvah of shaking the lulav and etrog in the sukkah. For those who care to shake the lulav and etrog in the sanctuary and not go to the sukkah, that's okay. We have an option for you too. You can remain in here, and I will stay with you and teach you how to shake the lulav and etrog, and then you can still have a cookie and still go into the sanctuary, into the sukkah if you desire to, but we're trying to do social distance crowd control, so Rabbi Weiner and Marla will take two ends of the sukkah, and I will stay in here while we shake the lulav and etrog together. And our closing song for Sukkot is
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach, ya la 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 la. Chag Sameach, ya la 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 la. Shiru, 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 Chag Sameach, ya la 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 la. Shiru, 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 Chag Sameach, ya la 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 la. Chag Sameach, ya la 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 la. Chag Sameach, ya la 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 la. Shiru, 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 Chag Sameach, ya la 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 la. Shiru, 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 Chag Sameach, ya la 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 la.
And in the words of Hallel, may we use this time to be happy, to be blessed, to show our gratitude as the idea of joy and gratitude and salvation were incorporated into the book of Psalms. May we continue to bless one another in our community. Moadim l'simcha, chagmim uzmanim l'sason. Let's go forth and shake our lulav and etrog.